came.
I think he's thinking more about just sticking a raise in, Vicky.
Well, yeah, but
thought better of it.
Well, he's managed to let the 5 high go. Unusually disciplined day for Mr. Duffy.
You guys are too good. I can't show you cards. Next time. They're both too good to show.
He's not wrong.
That an ace.
And a nice welcome to our shores for Antonio Esfandiari, the Californian visitor.
I think that most people perceive me as an aggressive, young kid, and that's kind of how I do play. I play really aggressive, and I like to push people around and put the pressure on. A lot of European players don't stand for that, and they put up a fight. So if that's the case, I'm going to have to back off a little bit. Maybe I go in a little bit, playing tight, kind of throw him for a little curveball.
Welcome back. 8 players still in action. Our chip leader is the online qualifier, Shelley Mullett. If she wins this game, of course, she'll be through to the final, and the runner-up will go to the semi-final.
What about Daniel in that series 2?
Yeah, you got pretty much too.
Oh, blimey, you got out of it though, didn't you? You got back again, didn't you?
I don't know.
Passing round to Crazy Horse Rambaswani. He's putting in his first raise.
David Benjamin for 120,000, that didn't work.
Yeah, well, it has been about 10 minutes, hasn't it, Vicky? But Ram not doing it with any old hand. Oh, John.
Raise it.
Oh, it's one of John's flair moves at a very bad time. He knows Ram can raise with anything, of course.
Well, that's right. You can't blame John for playing back at Rambaswani, of all people. Now, Ram might just call this and try and reel John in really deep on the flop.
Two of the greatest poker minds battling it out.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes me nervous. I'm not even in the pot. I'm a
Well,
little
luckily for John, the case ace has not come down. And he's checked it. Good sense of danger.
I don't think that Ram's going to be getting any more free cards. John with nothing but a gut shot, taking a stab. Ram might fancy raising this one, Vicky.
1100.
The flop's developing a little bit too scarily. No, he's got position. He's going to let John hang himself. Good card for Ram. Even if John had queens and tens and eights, something like that, Ram would be back in front.
Well, that is a very good check from John Duffy there.
Yeah, he knows when to give up. Ram is perfectly certain his aces up are good, but he's not going to get any more out of John Duffy. I can't really believe that John's going to do anything here except throw it away.
Well, on his day, John Duffy is a genius, but like so many geniuses, he's got a big streak of madness.
You wouldn't know it to look at him, would you?
Wow.
Well, it's a good pass.
Good steal, sir. Ace high. Call.
Well, with all the gears and moves that Rambaswani's got, dealing with his aces as well, that hardly seems fair.
The format suits me, one-table satellites. I think they're probably the most skillful type of tournament. The fact that you have to play a lot more different situations. Like, most tournaments you'll be playing 8 or 9 players all the way through. But with this, as players get knocked out, you have to play 8-handed, 7-handed, 6-handed, and you have to adjust to these situations, so it suits me.
Well, Shelley Mullett is still at the top of the leaderboard, but Ram is chasing up behind her. They've each had aces, of course.
Yes, and dodgy Mullet's down the bottom.
The band drop. Pass. 300.
Come on, John, you deserve a break. Nice hand, sir.
A lot of aces about tonight. Well, of course, this is where being a player like John can really pay off. What he wants now is for nobody to believe him.
Well, he did talk about overplaying his big hands and getting action.
Very playable hand Keith Hawkins has got with the blind so small.
It's the kind of hand that John Duffy likes to crack aces with. Ram having been priced in with the King 9.
Next one is in 50 minutes.
Oh, my goodness me.
That is so cruel for John. It looks like a great flop for a pair of aces. John Duffy's actually trapping here, although with 2 players out, he might be a little afraid of a 10. But John Duffy's going to have to pay here.
500. Pass.
He's doing well to keep it cheap and just cool. John Duffy's instincts have been good after the flop here.
Yes, he's very wary of Keith Hawkins. He knows the man's a very strong player. But look at Keith checking to induce the bet on the end.
Well, John needs to have exactly the kind of hand he's got for this check of Hawkins to work. It's almost as if Hawkins knows exactly what John Duffy's got. Very hard for John Duffy not to bet now.
I think that was an inspired check from Hawkins. He's playing the player. He knows John won't be able to resist having a stab at it with various hands that he's putting him on.
How to as soon as the raise coming in now.
Raise to 2,600.
Both of these players have played the pot brilliantly. John Duffy did very well to keep it as cheap as he did until this point. No one can blame him for betting after that inspired check by Keith Hawkins. And now he's just trying to figure out whether there's a total move being made on him, because if there isn't, he can't be winning.
Well, he can consider the possibility of Keith having Jack 9. That's a hand that Keith might check on the flop, bet on the turn and check raise on the river. It's possible.
There's no hand out there which John is beating except a bluff that Keith Hawkins would make this bet with. But if he throws this away, it's very, very difficult. He knows that they don't read him for hands this strong. Would Keith do this with something like ace-queen, he's thinking?
Or what if Keith had 2 hearts and he's missed? Yeah, John cannot resist finding out, but he's not going to like what he sees one little bit.
Well, he knew all along it might not be right, but Keith Hawkins made exactly the right size bet. Almost impossible for John Duffy to put down aces up in the situation. He's been so unlucky tonight.
Yeah, it's a horrible start for John Duffy. It's such a rare opportunity for a player like himself, an action player, very fast and loose, to find aces. And what a horrible flop came down to destroy what could have been a lovely situation.
Was this on high stake?
No,
And that pot takes Keith Hawkins into the chip lead. He's a man who knows what to do with it, Barney.
He certainly is, and I think the world is going to see why Keith Hawkins has been getting such incredible results lately. He's got he's a real player's player, enormous amount of respect amongst the other players on the circuit. Found himself another hand.
5 minutes with ace queen. 350.
Folded like an idiot. And he showed me the 7 hand.
Well, that's what you don't want. Rambaswani calling behind you, and he's been playing his big hands very cannily. A lot of slow playing by Ram.
But what a loose, casual throw-in of the chips from Ram, like his mate Phil Ivey. As if barely worth leaning forward, he tosses them in.
2 players.
Well, Keith Hawkins is going to love that flop. Only one over to his pair and an up and down straight jaw.
Bet 300.
And Ram just might just raise his overpair here. Too many draws out there.
Raise to 700.
Well, Keith Hawkins has got enough of this to stay involved. Very interesting situation.
Check.
Once again, I think Keith knows where he is. I think.
Well, Ram might just slow down a bit because you don't want to face a raise on the turn.
No, Ram's bet out. I mean, I think it's one of those situations where both players know where they are. Ram knows he's winning. Keith likes his draw.
Well, he loves it now.
Very hard for Ram Vaswani to put Keith on those 2 8s.
Bet 1,300.
A very cannily priced bet. But Ram's running out of ways that his jacks can be winning here. These decisions are the difference. You can save chips in this situation. They're so precious in a tournament like this. Great pass.
Yeah, fantastic. As you say, Barney, that is the difference between a good player and a great player, that he's not going to make a stubborn call with the two jacks. He bet when he was in front, pass when he was behind.
That's what we call perfect poker, Vicky.
I think Ram is probably the best tournament player in Europe. I think I've got to tread very carefully against Ram. I think if I'm playing a pot against him, I'll have to have the goods.
Okay, Torkins making nice, steady progress. And a nice chip lead to show for it.
Stage fright. Got a stage fright?
Sorry, I'm not flopping the nuts over yet.
Make sure you don't do it against me.